what people don't watch is day two of that concert. And day two of that concert it starts in the morning. And in the morning, it's Ravi Shankar is playing, his tabla player and another guy. And it's this lady, this old auntie, in front of this, the coolest, hippest crowd of all time, right? Like the Beatles sitting there, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, they're all sitting there watching.
Hey guys, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम दिशा है and this is a very special guest episode with one of my favorite musicians, Lifafa. Lifafa is the solo electronic project of Peter Cat Recording Co.'s frontman Suryakant Sawhney. Suryakant and I had a wonderful conversation where he gave me advice about creating art, his favorite podcast recommendations. We spoke about Instagram reels and short form content, his food recommendations and much more. If you're new here, we are a recommendations-based channel that brings you some of the finest recommendations on books, music, movies, and more every single week. We also started a new channel called Kitabi Cabins, where we will exclusively bring you exciting content about books. So make sure you're subscribed. And with that, let's get into this episode. Hi Suryakant, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. It's so good to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here and see what's going.
You're in Goa. That's very exciting. Would you like to start off this conversation with some food recommendations?
There's a really nice, mid-level, mid-budget Antonio's bar in Panjim is super nice. It's got like tapas, Spanish kind of food. Otherwise, I keep ordering from this place called Mustard Cafe, which I just think they're generally good food. There's actually a lot of good food in Goa. And then there's Burger Factory and there's like endless places actually.
Okay, so what would you say is your favorite cuisine?
I personally I like Mediterranean food, Greek food, hummus, Lebanese food, all that stuff. I like that. Then I like Italian food, and then it jumps straight to Punjabi food.
Do you have any travel recommendations for us?
I mean, every place is kind of special, but I honestly think even though people make fun of it and it's kind of overrated, it's actually worth going, seeing the wonders of the world. So far, I've seen the Great Wall of China, which is one of the most ridiculously surreal things you'll ever see in your entire life. Then we saw the pyramids 2 months ago, me and my wife. I mean, Egypt's all right, but it's just, these are things which stick with you. So I think it's nice to go to some place especially if you're historically minded like I am. I love feeling connected to the history of a place. Like I like the idea of staying in Cairo and seeing the Nile where a kind of civilization started. And I love that. I would recommend Cairo just to go see the pyramids. The city was okay. Otherwise, definitely go to China. It's an incredible place. Go anywhere, just visit it. As many cities as you can. I mean, the whole world. It's almost moot.
You don't have a favorite city as well?
I spent some years of my youth in San Francisco when I was studying. I still dream about that city once every month for some really bizarre ass dreams. I'm pretty sure my favorite city remains San Francisco, but I think it's the San Francisco of 2008. So it's a romantic sort of dream of the city I lived in as a young boy.
I've heard that you went to film school in San Fran. Is that correct?
Yes, it's true.
So would you say film school is totally worth it, or?
I think the real education you get is a combination of going for college and where you are. And I think for me, where I was living, I used to live in Gurgaon. If I hadn't gone to a ridiculously different place like San Francisco, I might have just stalled in terms of growth, Because when I got there, I really realized like how naive, how just like, I was just inexperienced as a human being. If you can, and if you can figure out how to finance your college abroad, it's always worth going for college abroad. The degree is almost secondary, depending. If you're in the liberal arts, the degree is almost secondary because I didn't graduate. But just the experience of being there at that time in your life, meeting people from around the world, not just your own, race. I think that's the best education you can get. And otherwise, film school is great because it teaches you all sorts of shit. Like you learn acting. You also learn how technical stuff works. You learn directing, obviously. You watch great films. You watch art history. So it's a complete liberal arts education, which I think people don't really imagine film school to be. But actually, that's the beauty of film school. I actually left film school in the last year because that's when it got expensive. Because then we had film back then, so you had to shoot in 35mm film. And to shoot 3 minutes of film, you had to like almost shell out 3.5 lakhs. One should go to college abroad if possible and just lay into the culture, lay into like a different place, be somebody else, start again.
So you never learned music?
I always learned a bit of music. School, picked up a guitar, learned how to play Californication or Wonderwall. Yeah, the standard stuff. Like it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like a rite of passage or some weird. But actually, yeah, I mean, I had some interesting, like I had a couple of teachers in my life who taught me very little, but they taught me some really key things, like one guy really sucked at being a teacher, but he just taught me how to make chords. So like that stuck with me because he came up with some silly way of teaching me how to remember chords. That stuck with me my entire life. So no, I'm not formally trained in music, but I have like the classic, mama is getting a teacher for you kind of education.
Okay, got it. So I love asking this to musicians, and I'm on a quest to find out the answer to this. Do you think कि टूटे दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है? Because there's this common perception that you need pain to fuel your art, especially in music. What is your take on this?
Oh no, that's totally untrue. I think what you simply need a excess of an emotion. It doesn't have to be pain. It can be love. It can be some songs I've written when I felt an abundance of love, not just for like my partner, maybe just for people or like life or reality or the planet for some reason. Nothing to do with pain. It's to do with excess. It's you got to have an excess of an emotion, and then you pour that the excess of that emotion into a piece of art. For me, real art is definitely reflective of sincerity.
But even with excess, sometimes it can get to you, right? Especially like it can mess with your mental health. Have you found a way to make art sustainably, like while?
No, being an artist is a wildly self-destructive form of living. It's the side effect of your job. Some traveling salesmen miss out on their family. Some people who work hard as CEOs don't have an emotional relationship with their loved ones. It's everything you do in life has a cost, and yeah, it's also sort of selfish. So I think the art of being an artist is how to compartmentalize that selfish human being within you and organize them to come out at a certain time. At this age, I've like figured out, okay, like my wife has also realized that there are times where she just can't. I'm not there. Like I'm not there, even if I'm sitting in the same room. And you have to realize that, okay, so I just have to organize this other person inside me who's this selfish sort of artist guy who lives inside me. He needs his own time. So it's almost like this weird time management of your own personality.
On that note, what would you say is like the worst advice that you hear people popularly give in music?
I don't think there's any bad advice. It's kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're trying to make money, then the motivations are different. I mean, I'm also trying to make money, but like my art always ends up dumping my money making effort. Even though I try, I'll set out to write a easy song which people will just like. It'll be a famous pop hit song, easily done. But no, I won't be happy with it, and I'll keep fucking with it, complicating it till I'm satisfied. And then by the time that happens, it's something else. But I think now on that point, I think people give this advice that sometimes, the faster you finish it, the better. That's quite true, but I think it's not something to just take completely. I've never heard really bad advice. I kind of ignore bad advice or don't listen to advice which seems stupid to me. I don't know.
Maybe the advice on using your pain to fuel your art is bad.
Oh no, that's fine. Being a musician is like being an actor. What's an actor doing? An actor is, in a performance in a theater play, an actor is kind of actually reliving an emotion. If there's a painful moment in the play, he has to somehow generate that feeling. So it's the same with with a musician. So I don't think that's bad advice. What is good advice is learn how to manage it like an actor. But no, it's certainly not bad advice to.
Yeah, you went through it.
Bad advice. Bad advice is, don't think about the money, just do it. That's bad advice. have a realistic, like, one side of it. Do not lose track of, like, you have to make a living of this. For me, that's the deepest success as an artist, is the person who manages to make his art and make a living of it.
As an artist, I have always felt this tug of war between wanting my art to be niche and not understood by everyone, but at the same time, I want fame and popularity. What are your thoughts on that? Like, have you faced that as well?
How old are you?
I'm 22.
When you get older, you realize that they're the same thing. Being niche is is not being clear. I feel now when I think about it, I feel like as I've gotten older, I've realized that what I'm looking for is clarity in whatever I'm doing. And sometimes I think people confuse lack of clarity with niche. That's not the same thing. You can be sophisticated in your art, uh, and still have it be clear. So I think as you get older, you accept that you want both, and you try not to be niche. Like I don't try to be a niche artist, honestly. It just is the reality of what I do. And and you balance it with how sincere you can be as a human being. Ultimately, like, I've not been able to deal with myself if, like, I put a song out, I know something I didn't like about it. It'll bother me my entire life. I can't give in to that feeling, but that's not necessarily a good thing either. I think you should spend your life not trying to be niche, but try to find a way of clearing up your art and finding the clarity in an art and just removing all the nonsense from it. Basically, you got to improve. You improve to a point where it's like Picasso. Before he started drawing all those cubist paintings, he could still paint an incredible classical style painting. At, like, whatever 16, he was painting like a great master. And as he grew up, he's like, oh yeah, I fucking hate that. I'm rejecting that. So the art is still to improve yourself technically and get sophisticated, but your idea is a niche. It's just not been represented well enough. I feel like that. You just haven't reached the point where you are capable of executing your idea well enough for people to understand it, because it's all communication.
I never thought about it in that way. Something for me to think about.
It's your fault, basically.
Yeah. On a lighter note, what app do you use to listen to music? Apple, Spotify, YouTube?
Oh, I don't listen to music.
At all?
No, I don't. Ever.
Your own music?
No, I don't listen to any music.
Like, very strictly?
No, I don't like listening to music. I like listening to long ass podcasts. So I guess for that I use YouTube. You'll only find me listening to music when I'm really, really wasted. And I feel like hearing this one song which has popped up in my mind, from some time. Then I'll open up whatever, Spotify or YouTube. No, YouTube every time, I think.
But is that a choice you're making for your
No, I
art?
just don't get any pleasure from listening to music. I love making it. I enjoy listening to it while it's being made, and then the moment it's made, I can't listen to it. And that's true for any music. But there's some music I'll turn on in the house for, like, ambience. I love ambient music. I like sound being part of my life, but not music, not organized melodies and shit.
Do you like performing?
Yeah, I love performing. Actually, the nice thing of performing is that it's instant. So it happens and it's over. Unlike when you work on music, it's like a never-ending process. The payoff isn't immediate. But when you do something in the moment, the payoff is immediate. It's over. You did it, and now it's over. Now you move on to the next thing. When you're writing music, it's like, oh, I got to work on the song. Okay, I'll work on it tomorrow. Oh, I got to work on it a month. Oh, I'll release it in 3 months. So there's no sort of no conclusion to this, like, quest. And of course, the nice thing about playing live is you finally you get some feedback from people, and people love you and all that shit. It feels great. Any human being would lie if they didn't say they liked admiration.
There must be some song that you do not like playing.
Oh, I mean, I don't like playing any of the songs anymore because we've been playing them for so long. But I hate the idea of having to play it. But then when we start playing it live, it's a new moment. I don't think about it.
It doesn't become repetitive.
It is repetitive if you think about it. If you don't think about it, it's fine. That's what I like about playing live, is that I'm finally not in my head.
And how active are you on Instagram?
Damn, now I'm just like totally dropped off Instagram. I mean, just social media. I've just like started disconnecting myself. I still go through Instagram. I like looking for great, nice art. Nice. Like I love like the graphic designers you find on Instagram.
What is your take on the whole the way TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff is affecting the music industry and changing it?
I think the world's basically moving two directions. The people who want like 30 seconds mein sab kuch de do, and then there are people who want 3 hours. So I've seen that shit. Maybe the 5-minute song is not as satisfying, but like equally people are now starting to listen to 3-4 hour podcasts. People are starting to watch TV series which go on for like 16 hours. Then on this other side, you have people who people need to watch they need like 30 seconds may make me laugh, make me like cry, whatever. So I think it's just evolution, it's I don't have an opinion about it. There's going to be positive stuff about it, negative stuff about it. Like there's just there's no right or wrong about it. It's happening. I mean, I've seen some brilliant reels. I've seen some hilarious shit. So I don't knock on it. I just think it depends from person to person. Really creative people really do amazing stuff with it. And then there's always like really dumb shit. Like one guy is walking with his glasses. I don't even know what's going on. But I guess everybody's just trying to just trying to mark their place in time. I was here.
Would we ever see you make a reel?
I mean, I've had to make a reel sometimes for some brands and shit. But like, I'm not particularly interested in making a reel, but I'm not disinterested in doing interesting marketing stuff. I think the reel is for me not something, not the way my mind functions. I have slightly loftier ambitions. They may or may not work out, but like either I'll be hammered and you'll see me on Instagram talking shit, or I don't engage with it.
So what would your response be if tomorrow a Lifafa song came viral on Instagram and everyone's making reels? Or like,
great, make them. Yeah. Why will I hate on somebody else's reels? I can criticize the reels. Like this one's shit, this one's good. Sure, that's what I can do. But yeah, of course, why will I be upset people are making them? I think the worst thing which an artist can feel is completely irrelevant. If someone's taking the time out of their day to do something like that, you should feel good about yourself.
You mentioned earlier that you listen to podcasts on YouTube. Give us some recommendations on that.
Lex Friedman is the podcast I watch the most. That's just becoming the most insane series of human interviews. Actually, like even Joe Rogan, what he did with podcasts, he's created one of the most incredible libraries of interviews. Whether you like him or not, that's besides the point. But like the people he's got to come talk from all walks of life, they've created something historical. Like you're just watching some of the smartest people and dumbest and funniest and weirdest people just talk, just be themselves, which is amazing. But Lex Friedman's my favorite.
The last one that I watched that I really liked was the one he did with Grimes.
Oh, Grimes one was great.
Yeah.
Fucking cool. Yeah. In fact, you should just watch one which just came out yesterday with Donald Hoffman. That is the craziest podcast I watched my entire life. It's the most mind-bending. Like he's basically a MIT evolutionary game theory scientist. He talks about life-changing ideas when you listen to him. You watch it. It's like 3 hours long. I'm shaken by like what he was saying. The other podcast I like watching Sam Harris. I mean, I went through this entire phase where I was going through that intellectual. There was that Jordan Peterson. There was this whole phase where all these people are, like hanging out, and they're all fucking weird. I mean, they're saying dumb shit and they're saying really smart shit at the same time, all the time, which is cool. I like that. So yeah, there was a circle. I think there was him, Sam Harris. There was Eric Weinstein. The Sleep podcast with Andrew Huberman. That's an insane podcast. And then, of course, History with Dan Carlin. It's just about history.
Do you like watching documentaries?
I don't go out of my way to watch them. But, if someone's turned a good, interesting one, I'll watch it.
You spoke about your interest in history. What are your sources?
I just like reading articles and like Wikipedia. I mean, I don't watch many documentaries. I enjoy reading it. I mean, I like the internet as a function of like, research in that way. You read about someone and you hear another name, you click on it, you go into their life. So it's almost less than history. I really like biographies of people. I love reading about individuals and how they live their life and the ups and downs.
Any recommendations on that end?
As in a person?
As in like books?
Oh, no, I don't. I don't really read books also. Honestly, like when it comes to history, I just go with Wikipedia and just keep going through like deeper and deeper and deeper into Wikipedia.
What would you say to people that question the reliability of Wikipedia?
Hey, this is a big question. How reliable is any history? Who wrote the damn books? Every government comes, changes the books. It's always changing. Wikipedia is, for me, the most reliable history book of all times because it constantly keeps changing within the same place. There's a consensus system, you see. Vast majority have to be like, yeah, it's not bullshit. It's not easy to inject your politics into Wikipedia as much as you try, which is why Wikipedia is a great source of knowledge.
Other than that, what obsessions do you explore in your evenings, on your weekends?
These days, I'm really into anime. So I'm watching a lot of anime these days. And Netflix is just like unleashed great prints of old anime I used to watch as a kid again. So I've been watching all that. We travel a lot. So right now, Surbhi's traveling again. So I'm alone at home. So I end up working obviously through the day. I have phases where I obsess over something for a few months and intensely go into it and then switch. Right now it's anime. And right before this, I really got into finding right-wing commentary and like sources. I'm just like interested in seeing what the hell happens on that side. So I spent like a month just going into like the most right-wing places of the internet on Reddit, of Chan or like YouTube. I think I'm an apolitical person. I've realized now because I just keep I kind of look for reasons to hate all the sides. It's like I'm basically just looking for what's wrong with everybody. I was deep into politics for 2-3 months, and luckily I'm out of that again. So it's always a big topic. It's not some specific thing. Now it's anime, so it's much easier now to follow.
What anime are you watching?
Right now I'm watching the new Ghost in the Shell. Oh my god, it's spectacular. Japanese people, man. I have a friend of mine in Japan who's a photographer there, and they have the most insane vending machines. So they have vending machines where they basically they sell anything. So there's one vending machine where they sell miniature models of an animal's candle. I'm not making this up. It's basically a miniature toy where there's a apologetic looking hippo, like he's fucked up. And then there are different animals, and there's like a press conference. So it's a miniature press conference with microphones and an apologetic animal. And they sell this in vending machine. There's another vending machine where they sell miniature snipers, but stuck inside garbage. I don't know. It's just there's a crazy subculture of vending machines in Japan. Anyway, I guess Ghost in the Shell, which is incredible. I watched Neon Genesis the Evangelion again, which is one of the most epic animes of all time. It's extremely interesting also because it starts off as this classic like big robot fighting monster anime, and then the writer got depression in the middle of the season, the first season. Yeah. And it pivots from being this action anime into a total like psychological analysis, and it's like what is going on. And all the characters just vanish and it just starts changing into a different show. Basically, go on Netflix and they've licensed amazing anime from Japan for India finally.
One of the weirdest anime movies I've watched is Mind Game by Masaki Yuasa. I would highly suggest that you check it out. Do you have any movie recommendations for us?
Movie recommendations?
Last movie that made an impact on you?
I think it was Mulholland Drive. I think David Lynch films. Dune was actually amazing. I'm a sucker for science fiction, basically. Dune was like a spectacular film by all counts. There's an old movie called Underground by this Serbian filmmaker called Emir Kusturica. That's for me the greatest film of all time. Maybe you should watch old Amitabh Bachchan films because they're really, really amazing. I realize that a lot of the new generation isn't watching them at all. Muqaddar Ka Sikandar. I mean, the movie is amazing too, but the music is like unbelievable. Amar Akbar Anthony, all those like, if you have time, go through the 70s, 80s, like those Amitabh Bachchan multi-starrers. When he was really, really cool. Now he's selling like fucking fans. I'm like, what? Come on. Why are you doing this?
My favorite Amitabh movie is Anand.
Those times actually Bollywood had something very special going on there, which nowhere else in the world had, which was this sort of approachable cinema, because the production quality wasn't high, but the music was so good and the acting was nice. The stories were like heartbreaking, but also like beautiful. I don't know. Now it's just like I need a six-pack, and I'm like,
consider making music for a Bollywood film?
I don't think I can make music for a Bollywood film, but like some people, if they want to license songs, I'm happy to license songs. And I'm very bad at making music on demand. If you ask me, hey, I need a romantic song, yeah, it's not going to happen. But I think for me, my music is deeply personal. Also, I do the whole thing. So I write, produce, and perform it. So the whole chain means that I'm connected to song too close. So yeah, I don't see Bollywood in my future, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
How about movies? Will you be making movies?
No, actually, I once I'm done with music, which is hopefully soon in my life, I want to do something which is more like in the science field. I want to go back to school. I would love to go back to college and start again, make some money, and go do a 3 year bachelor's of science at 40, and then start. Yeah, I'm going the other way. It's like beta engineer ban jao. And they were like, oh shit, I should have been a fucking engineer.
Yeah.
I might have enjoyed it too.
Do you think this is the best phase of your life?
It's a day-to-day thing for me. Phase over, but like some days are nice, some days are shit. There are some things which are nice about this phase. I don't like looking older. Like last year, I suddenly got like gray beard. It's heartbreaking initially because until 2 years ago, it was jet black. And suddenly you realize, oh shit, I'm 35. I got old. I'm more financially sort of well off than I've ever been in my life. So that's nice. But I ain't that young anymore. I can't tell if I'm happy or not. I'm just generally, I'm busy. I'm either busy or not. That's how I treat life. I don't go looking for happiness. I like to just stay busy, I think.
How important is it for you to make unique music? Do you obsess over that?
Yeah, absolutely. I hate the idea of aping a culture. It's kind of a reason I've been unable to want to make hip hop because like the way I come at music from is like I wanted to create a completely new category of music. Not because it's wrong or anything. I think it's nothing. That's just me. The chief conflict you have as an Indian who especially grew up watching like Western shit and has Indian parents, Indian culture is identity. Basically, in my music, I'm still trying to find, and it's a continuous sort of quest to find uh, an authentic identity in the spirit of people I've admired through history who made their own place in the world, which was not necessarily unique to them, but it was sincere and it was original to a point. Like anybody, like it doesn't have to, it can be a scientist, it can be an author, writer, whatever. But like I said, it's really a bad. I think as an Indian upper middle class Indians have a massive identity crisis. And I think I'm too aware of that. So in my music, basically, I approach it from identity. And I don't mean identity as in like caste or something like that. I literally mean my place, my personal place in this world. Who am I? Am I an Indian? But I grew up some years in Dubai also. So it's like, it's just trying to find your way around. So I approach music the same way. It has to reflect me. It has to reflect who I am, my experience on planet Earth. It just can't be like an import of another culture. That's almost like for me, that's almost sacred. I'm almost like a nationalist in that way. Not national is not the right, but there's certainly like no, this land where I live has made some of the most amazing music, the most advanced, spiritually elevated music in reality. There's a famous concert, the Monterey Jazz Festival. I can't remember. Monterey Pop Festival in '70s. I was watching it, and it's the famous one where Jimi Hendrix plays the guitar and he sets it on fire and does that whole stuff. And it's amazing. It's a great concert. But what people don't watch is day 2 of that concert. And day 2 of that concert it starts in the morning, and in the morning it's Ravi Shankar is playing. He's the tabla player and another guy, and it's this lady, this old auntie, in front of this the coolest, hippest crowd of all time, right? Like the Beatles sitting there, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, they're all sitting there watching. And while watching that concert, I was like, wow, this is like their music. Just after listening to something almost childish, like Jimi Hendrix as cool, it sounded like a child was making music, and watching them was like, wow, these people have tapped into some ancient, sacred, like wisdom. I don't know, it was something elevated. So it was just at that moment I realized that there's just so much here which hasn't been explored. In that moment, I just saw a glimpse of what like Indian music or Indian culture had been or could be capable of. So for me, it's definitely like worthwhile trying to find a way of pushing it ahead in my own way instead of just like pushing somebody else's cultural expression. There's just too much to do. There's so much left to explore. The way music is written in India is, or Indian classical music is, and I don't even listen to Indian classical music. But the idea of Indian classical music is so fundamentally different from Western classical music or Western music in that, there is no polyphony in Indian music. If polyphony means multiple notes playing at the same time by one person, that's a way like a chord. A chord is not an Indian idea. Indians don't play chords.
Oh,
Indians, yeah, Indians play notes, but we combine as single notes, and that's why all our music becomes very trancey or was like. It's a totally different organization of music. It's just a complete different idea of how to even make music. It's something really crazy.
Has it ever happened that you've made something that you loved, but you knew that you had to scrap it because it did not feel as original or true to what you wanted to make?
No, I just keep working on the thing until I, that way I have a lot of self-awareness in that sense. I can rip apart my own song. Even now I can pick any song and I can tell you it sounds like this, and this. But I know that combination I've made is unique. But yeah, I try my best to basically try and bring in what I like from other music and hide it in a way which no one else can tell. That's how all art is done anyway. Something I want to study as I get older is like coming back to like so much music from India just traveled around the world. I mean, like the Beatles playing bloody sitar and tabla in their songs.
Yeah.
And like, it's like what? I mean, it's like okay, cool. I love the Beatles. It's produced brilliantly, but we were thinking. It's just like I love the Beatles, but this is a retarded song. I love Velvet Underground, for example. And Velvet Underground is heavily like inspired by Indian music. So it's always circles back for me. Like I found myself, what I liked in other music, I ended up realizing, oh, there is some commonality in what I liked about how I grew up listening to some music. There's something in there. And like early Bollywood music was also like basically what K-pop is. Which is cool about K-pop and J-pop and all that stuff is that they don't give a shit about genre. I can't stand the songs, but I admire the production quality of the songs. But the songs are like unbelievably stupid. Basically, what they did in old Bollywood is like, ek gana mein, okay, bring in the Brazilian sound, mix it up with this. So it's just like each song would like mix the entire planet. It's like, we don't give a shit. I guess I love music. I almost like the culture of music is fascinating. Like black music, love it, but it's always community based. It's always building on the community, building on its own past. Like hip hop is a very community based music, funk, soul, all of this gospel or like American black music. It's all about community. It's all about building on somebody else's music. And what white music, interestingly, or like white American music, it emphasizes individuality. That's why you'll hear a lot more unique music coming from white American music. As in, it'll be very individual. Like this person made it.
Can you give me some examples?
Yeah, like Animal Collective, Sonic Youth, Nirvana, Pixies. All of these people are very like they're individualistic to a point. Like I can put on 10 soul, and I love soul music. I mean, that's my meal. That's the music if I listen to music, I listen to soul. But if you put 10 soul artists and play them for me, they all kind of sounds. There's different voices, but they're all playing the same music. Specifically, white sort of culture in America, very individual based. It's all white bands are like that. That's the nature of. That's how the societies are organized. So there's no good or bad. This is just a differentiation. India's a clusterfuck of all of it. And I think that's ultimately what Indian music will be. It's actually and that's of course what India is. It's the most diverse form of anything. So eventually, the music also becomes. It's like Punjabis will take fucking trap music and put it in, and then there'll be, it's perfect because there'll be a video where like Diljit Dosanjh will be like throwing money, and then the next shot will be these like women in the fields dancing, and then it'll be him on a tractor, and then it'll be him on a Lamborghini. So it's like I'm Punjabi, so like it's hilarious because that's the cool thing about Indians. They can be like, "Ha, sab dal do." There's no I think we're now starting to get back to the point of sophistication. We had it once, we lost it in the middle when I think the 90s we lost the sophistication. When Anu Malik came in, yeah, the sophistication. And now I think South Indian music is doing really cool stuff. The movies are still like, I don't know what's going on. Like, let's put 4 generations of family in 1 hour. But, the music is getting sophisticated. And that's cool. I mean, when A.R. Rahman came, basically, the sophistication came back in, I think, into Bollywood. Which is
Anu Malik to A.R. Rahman.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should listen to A.R. Rahman. I think he's become a bit weird now. Like, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He wears sunglasses all the time. He's like, he's like making... I think he's enjoying being a star, which is cool. But that man literally made some of the best fucking music in the world in the last 20, 30 years. Subscribe to Chalchitra Talks. This is a sincere request. Edit it. Make it look like this is a sincere request.